the executive vice president of football operations and longtime Philadelphia Eagle, played for 4 teams and 15 years with distinction in the National Football League. He's Troy Vincent. How are you, Troy?
Good. Things are going well. I think we're coming to a place that will make the fans, the coaches, and everyone else watching the game, we believe, happy.
Well, it's easy to understand, number one, with the exception of that third part right there. What does it mean, or the ability to perform such an act, a football move? What does that mean, Troy?
So the third, if you just, when someone says today, define what is the criteria of a catch? And as you've referenced, Rich, control, 2 feet, and the ability to perform a football act, which could be an elbow, and the Calvin Johnson, where he had control, 2 feet, and he actually hit the ground where he was turning, but he was turning under his own ability. That's a football act. The Dez Bryant, he catches, has control, 2 feet, actually 3 feet. He extends, which is a football act. So that motion of a football act, which actually mirrors what the college rule says, we felt like when we asked the question, should Dez Bryant, should that be a catch? Do you want that to be a catch? When we asked the fan, the player, the coach, the Jesse James, do you want that to be a catch? The Dez Bryant, do you want that to be a catch? And then we just began mapping the language that would constitute, what does that mean? Control in each one of those situations, 2 feet down, and then the ability to perform a football act is how Coach Payton and Coach Tomlin continue to express the ability to perform a football act.
So that's the language that would make the Calvin Johnson play that we've seen over and over a touchdown. That's what
correct.
The language is in there for?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
So then, because I know the way you and the rest of the competition committee operates, what do you think the unintended consequence might be of this new rule, Troy?
Don't over-officiate. And this is something that we talked to the game officials that was with us in Indy, and here with Al and his crew here. It is the time element is something that just got people, well, what is time? What constitutes time? Because before we used to say control, 2 feet, and the time element. Now it's control, 2 feet, and the ability to perform that move. So this makes it clear with Al. So I think the Super Bowl play with Clemens is really the best picture and the best example of where we want to be. And this is where you saw Clemens had total control of the ball, but there was still movement, but there was movement with control. And eliminating the term going to the ground, these are movement can occur. But this is what, frankly, Rich, this is replay. When you think about replay and technology, this is the unintended consequences of when you have great technology. We were looking at clips with the Calvin Benjamin play where we were counting the pellets that were coming from off of the surface. But that's what the cameras and the technology allows you to see. As I always say, I saw space. I saw air in between hand and ball. Hey, the fan, we all want to say in the stadium, that is a catch.
No,
leave it on the field.
No, I hear that. So let me take this one step at a time. The Corey Clement play in the end zone, where he does shift the ball in his hands. I see what you're saying about control with the shift. He's still controlling it while he's shifting. But while he shifts the ball, that is when that second foot, he shifts the ball in between having his second and then third foot down. The third foot comes out of bounds. So what constitutes still control in that regard? Best you can tell and get a fan on the same page with you.
He had 2 feet. He had control in 2 feet before he began moving that ball to the other hand.
So that's why it would be a catch under this new rule.
Correct.
Okay. And Kelvin Benjamin, when you're saying it should stand as called, even if you're – so Al Riveron is now going to be told when he's looking at the replay in 345 Park that even if there is air around the ball, if it's called a touchdown on the field, stay with that as called? Is that what he's going to be told?
Again, we're trying to remove the subjective element is still there. There's still but for the fan in stadium, oftentimes that official seeing that real time. And real time and replay, there's a different element. But when you can slow frame by frame, we're in West Palm and you're looking at frame by frame, that's what replay has done is, hey, and the coach is saying, that looks like a catch, it feels like a catch, it smells like a catch. Why are you reversing that? The old language says the clear and obvious. So Al was correct in his assessment and what was reversed or wasn't based off of the old language. The new language here will allow officials, we would like to see more plays stay on the field.
All right, last one for you, Troy. On this one, Troy Vincent, EVP of Football Operations here on the Rich Eisen Show. So when it all comes down to it, I hear from fans so much that this is going to lead to more fumbles. Does this now mean somebody like Des Bryant, because he has control and 2 feet down, has made a football act, not only is he ruled somebody in possession of the ball, he's now ruled a runner, and thus the ground can't cause a fumble because of that? Is that the ruling that's going to be here, Troy?
So actually, in the Des Bryant, if you look at that frame by frame, he would actually be down by contact.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So his third step, he was actually, before he hit the ground, he would have been down by contact.
Okay. So I guess so if somebody has the ball and they have gone down to the ground and they haven't been touched and the ball comes, that is a fumble.
That's a fumble. That's a fumble.
Okay.
And what's wrong with that? You know, the fan on the opposite side is saying, great, we got another chance to maybe come back and score. So we do understand. We've talked about that. Actually, the catch committee had brought that up. And Amani Toomer is the one who actually raised it, like, is something wrong with the fumble? There's nothing wrong with it. It gives the other team another opportunity to score. That will occur. We will see. We have clips to show that potentially runner stumbles, falls without being contact. Potentially, that would be a fumble.
So now, while we're on the subject of fumbles, Troy, because my latest problem that I've had now that I got the help get the catch rule out, I'm going to take credit for that. I mean and the tuck rule. I'm going to take credit for both of those things. Okay.
So before I answer your question,
yes,
can you explain to me now, based off of what the committee has recommended?
Yes.
How would you articulate what is a catch? Give me the criteria.
It's 2 feet down, control, and the ability to make a football act. I get it.
Okay,
I get
Michigan
it.
grad, I get it. I got it.
No,
you got
seriously. To me, Jesse James was a touchdown, and it should be. And I think what you guys have done has now finally got this catch rule to where I think the league wants it, which means if every man, woman, and child in a bar sees it and thinks it is, then it is. I think that's great. Honestly.
Okay.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.